here 17 years ago when the House of Representatives passed DOMA. I was the only member of the House to speak against the passage. I moved that the bill be declared unconstitutional, and a little over 15%, a little less than 15% of the House of Representatives agreed that it was unconstitutional. Today, I'm sure the number would be much, much greater. I have here a quasi-official citation from the House of Representatives. Somehow the Speaker of the House was unavailable to sign this citation, so therefore we didn't have to worry about what he thought, and I got to write it myself and just issue it on my own authority. I hope this begins a flood of legal documents of gradually greater significance to show that what Bruce Haynes is doing is in the finest traditions of American constitutional law. The resolution reads as follows. Whereas Pennsylvania is the only mid-Atlantic state which does not allow same-sex marriages or civil unions, and whereas the recent U.S. Supreme Court decision overturning the National Defense of Marriage Act is unconstitutional controls judicial interpretation of Pennsylvania's Defense of Marriage Act. The Pennsylvania Defense of Marriage Act is modeled upon the U.S. National Defense of Marriage Act, and whereas Attorney General Kathleen Cohen has declared she cannot legally defend the Pennsylvania Defense of Marriage Act because it is unconstitutional, and whereas several provisions of the Pennsylvania Constitution ban discrimination and denial of civil rights and banning marriage rights, as the Pennsylvania Defense of Marriage Act does, is a discriminatory violation of civil rights. The only way these provisions can be applied is if there is a case or controversy before the Pennsylvania appellate courts. And whereas Montgomery County Register of Wills D. Bruce Haynes has shown extraordinary courage in defying the will of the administration of Governor Tom Corbett and of major newspaper editorial boards, and whereas the historic denial of marriage rights to the LGBT community is one of the major civil rights issues of our time. The great abolitionist and civil rights leader Frederick Douglass said, "Those who profess to freedom yet deprecate agitation are people who want crops without plowing the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the roar of its many waves." The struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, or it may be both, but it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and never will. Whereas over time, there are likely hundreds of thousands of Pennsylvanians who will benefit from D. Bruce Haynes' courageous actions, and whereas that Register of Wills D. Bruce Haynes be applauded for his outstanding contributions to maintaining the constitutional rights of all Pennsylvanians. Now therefore, that County Commissioners Josh Shapiro, Leslie Richards, and County Solicitor Raymond McGarry, Esquire, be commended for their actions in support of the courage and determination of Montgomery County Register of Wills D. Bruce Haynes, and directs that copies of this resolution shall be sent to the persons named herein and other appropriate persons. It was my pleasure to prepare this resolution. It's been my pleasure to support same-sex marriage rights for a long time, and we are already winning this battle.